Hi everybody, this is this week's presentation on the SSH protocol. What is SSH? It's also known as the Secure Shell Protocol or Open SSH. Those were the two things that I found pretty widely used on the internet. A method for secure remote login from one computer to another. So SSH provides several options for strong authentication, and it provides the communications and security and integrity with some strong forms of encryption involved with the system. It also provides extended security features. It provides strong security features such as advanced authentication techniques, other encryption techniques that allow for system security. This security features also makes it a secure alternative for authentication. Something else that I thought was pretty interesting is that it's also a secure alternative to the non-protected login protocols and ensures that there's security behind the file transfer methods or FTPs, which you might see pretty often as well. Okay, so how does it work? This photo on the left side of the screen is actually a good photo that I found that represents the SSH protocol model of the steps that it takes from client to server. The protocol works in the client server model. So this means that the connection is established by the SSH client connecting to the SSH server. The SSH client drives the connection setup processes and uses the public key cryptography to verify the identity of the server. So this right here actually is going to run into the second statement a little bit. While there are two different steps, it's going to run into the second statement. And I'll explain why in just a second. So after the setup phase, it uses what's called symmetric encryption. In case you don't know what symmetric encryption is or don't remember, it is a type of encryption where only one key is used to both encrypt and decrypt the system. It's used to encrypt and decrypt any electronic information, files, or data that's being sent over the server. So I thought this was pretty cool. How is it normally used? So a lot of these bullet points that you see listed here are going to be primarily related to corporate companies. However, I did find that these were kind of pretty interesting. Most of these are going to be, like I said, common uses for corporate, and you'll usually find a lot of them will do with like people that are working over a VPN or a remote network. So I thought that was kind of cool, and I thought that would be really good information to have. This protocol is most commonly used for providing secure access for users and automated processes, interactive and automated file transfer, issuing remote commands, and managing network infrastructure and other mission critical system components. Again, like I said, those are going to be mainly related to the corporate side of what the SSH protocol is going to be used for, not directly related to, an everyday use of sorts. So I'm going a little bit out of order here. I'm going to talk about how you can secure your Open SSH or your SSH protocol. The first three, they're pretty common. However, I'm going to go in a little bit in depth on some of these. So using a strong password. Using a strong password is pretty self-explanatory. Using a strong password essentially ensures that your system is protected by any means necessary. So you don't have to worry about, going above and beyond having to come up with these extravagant security techniques in a sense. Using a strong password can contribute to the security of your system. So making sure that you change your password every 3 to 6 months, which is what I see most common is recommended across the board. This will help to boost your security. I also recommend that whatever company that is using this that I've seen, you want to ensure that you're keeping a log so that way the same passwords won't be used again, when you're changing it. So the next thing is disabling a root login. Disabling a root login or root user, just make sure that you don't have anybody that has overriding access to the system, and that's just one account. So like, if somebody can get access to this one account, then this one account is going to have an overriding access to the whole system. However, once you do that, you can add what's called a Vivek Vivek user to the sudo group on Ubuntu. Um, this sets up the system so that way the user that signs in can also have sudo privileges, and you'll do that using the sudo add user Vivek, and then the ID Vivek. And then last but not least, you're going to limit the user access. So if you limit the user access in the system, obviously there won't be that many hands that can, access the system and then go back and forth into it and make any changes without anybody noticing. Also ensuring that you're keeping a logbook that, keeps track of every change that's been made to the system as well, will help to secure your system. The last slide here, like I said, I'm going a little bit out of order, is I want to also talk about how to enable SSH in Ubuntu. So to install, it's going to be pretty standard. We're going to use the sudo apt update. It's pretty much what we do to install any active packages. And once you do that, then you'll install the package using the sudo apt install open SSH server. This will allow you to install the SSH package on Ubuntu. After you do that, the screen should look pretty similar to the photo that I have listed on the left side of the slide. This also exhibits the second set of commands that I have listed, and that is to check the status and make sure that it's running. You'll use the sudo systemctl status SSH. Once you do this, you will be able to check the status of your system to make sure that it's active and running, and you shouldn't have any further issues from there. Once you complete all those steps, you have done everything necessary to ensure that SSH is installed. I also want to mention that SSH runs on port 22 as well, so you'll look out for port 22 once you activate your install SSH on your system. Last but not least, these are all of the citations that I used here. There are a couple of good links that I do want to point out on this last slide. The first link actually gives you a ton of information completely about the SSH protocol. That's actually where I got the really good photo of the model on slide 3. And other than that, thank you.